This video is intended to describe a lightblade wand named Abundance, which is the 16th rendition in short succession. And what that means is there are 15 predecessors from a very short time period of exactly this primary vibratory ignition sequence, which is deemed to be the Abundance ratio. And to join me on my crystalline tour today will be my crude six-figure chakra map, as well as auxiliary components that will be installed after the notarization of everything in this entire vibratory device. So starting off with the primary blade banding, which deems the designation of abundance, would be clear quartz seen like so on both sides, going into emerald, the quintessential green ray heart chakra stimulant of abundance, precious notoriety throughout human history, the stone of royal antiquity for this particular famed abundance legend. Then going into golden rutilated quartz to make a tremendous acceleration of the energy through this entire primary blade band into peridot. Peridot is a fantastic third and fourth chakra stimulant, essentially the energy of chlorophyll, that of growth, caught in crystalline vibratory output, which is how, of course, all this is possible, chlorophyll. Going into clear quartz to work as a neutral accelerant of the energy of the blade band, into golden healer quartz, which is a tremendous, powerful, high heart source chakra stimulator to high connection to the source of creation, which metaphysical purposes is nearly irreplaceable in its utilization as a subcapacitation agent for this entire primary blade band, as it runs this perpetual circuit that vaguely resembles a figure eight, going into the transmutation ratio. So underneath this fabulous, lovely green leather, there actually are handbands seen much like this, installed based on the transmutation ratio to this laurel band right like so, consisting of hematite and smoky quartz in succession, going all the way to here on both brass and silver for the intake-output, same exact vibratory ignition sequence to work as a tremendous grounding agent with the hematite, grounding all the excess energy through the root chakra into the earth stars, into the earth star meridian matrix for reprocessing in tandem with smoky quartz to, of course, ground all the excess energy into the earth, which works much like a transmutation dialysis agent to purify all excess energy, and most importantly, too, as a contingency for such an exotic high vibratory yield construct to give a constant grounding contact patch into the earth for reprocessing, and perhaps also, very important too, is to bring tangibility to the entire magic of the construct seen before me, which plays a very critical role. So the lateral band seen right here, as well as the main heart of the device or engine section, is of an exotic nature of the transmutation ratio. Once again, hematite and smoky quartz to ground all the excess energy through the root into the earth for two-way quick reprocessing, as well as pyrite being a masculine cousin to hematite, which has a very nice directional focus of energy to the solar plexus, yet grounds it through an iron-based filter as well, which is very powerful for taking all the excess energy and giving it a practical, focused, grounded output. And like I mentioned, that would be the primary blade band going to this lateral band like so, the hand bands both sides to this lateral band, to this main engine band, recirculating what looks to be like a perpetual figure eight. As a preface to describe is that all the other exotic frequencies yet to be mentioned will be running through this particular sequence like so for perpetual energetic momentum recirculation. And right here, speaking of lateral bands, this is the love-shine ratio, consisting of rose quartz as a pink ray high heart stimulant, into rutilated quartz to make a dramatic acceleration of this particular pink ray octave, into morganite, which is emerald's pink ray cousin of the beryl family, going into rutilated quartz into kunzite, a lovely lithium-based extreme pink ray soother in the mineral kingdom, which is what I defer to as the traditional love-shine ratio, with the trinity of these pink ray stones working in a synergistic combination for, once again, pink ray vibrational compound interest. So that would be, of course, the entirety of the blade band scaffolding now discussed, besides the thumb engagement up so, which will eventually be taken care of. But the preface about that also is that all these other frequencies terminated to the single primary wire generate vibrational compound interest, much like organs of this self-aware crystalline entity before me, as part of its entire matrix of a closed-loop reactive circuit. So that being said, any other frequency mentioned thus far are all pinging off each other for vibrational compound interest, which I say quite often in these videos because it's quite critical to get that across, as well as even a small dose through a reactive circuit goes a very long way for the entirety of this vibratory output designation. So I will go ahead and start with the engine section. And before I do so, as a preface, once this video is concluded and all these crystalline structures are notarized, white leather will be installed with very prominent special badging seen right here. And as a quick little demonstration, it will look much like this, but of course cut to aesthetic appropriate nature. Let's see. Make that behave for a second. So before I go any further, this rendition will also have a highly augmented variety of the love currency coin, who was commissioned into existence by the lovely Wizard of Sedona, Stephen Ross. And so I've had the privilege of perhaps dozens of these renditions of taking his love currency he commissioned and making augmentation circuits around them. So this is another dramatic foray in that particular arena of augmenting his lovely timeless message of with love, in love, and through love with all actions, as well as a beautiful heart, an open mind, and a humble spirit. I find those words to be timeless and a great honor to put into an energetic augmentation circuit for the emanation of that energy through any given broadcasting spirit tool. And it is trademarked, but I think I do have permission at this point. So anyhow, that's the love currency, of course, from the wonderful Wizard of Sedona. And what we have going on here is what I deem to be the miracle ratio by its comprehensive full light body emanation spectrum, which will be very actually advantageous as an overtone to such a heavy green ray heart chakra abundance frequency focus, to have the overture of the entire light body stimulation also be covered in its own independent circular structure, which will be of course grounded into the structure once this video is notarized and completed. Starting off with rutilated quartz. Rutilated quartz is actually titanium dioxide inside a quartz structure that works as a tremendous accelerator of other frequencies. So that could be denoted to be a tremendous intensification of whatever octave is running through it. Hence, this closed loop circuit has a lot of spice to it by turbocharging the entire electromagnetic spectrum of the 7 rays plus pink and cinnabar. Starting off with ruby, being the quintessential root chakra stimulant of precious notoriety, which I'll get into later with further dissertation. Going into carnelian, an orange ray cardinal stone of ancient Egyptian utilization. Rutilated quartz, of course, in between each of these as a subcapacitation agent into tiger's eye, which is a great aligner of the lower 3 chakras. Then peridot, once again, like mentioned up there, 3rd and 4th chakra stimulant. Rutilated quartz into emerald, the quintessential green ray heart chakra stimulant. Rutilated quartz into aquamarine. This is emerald's cousin of the blue ray, same family of beryl, being a very powerful 4th and 5th cardinal stimulant. Into golden healer quartz into blue sapphire, another stone of antiquity which will be further discussed up so, of the 5th and 6th chakra wind elemental configuration. Then going into golden healer quartz into the famous lovely lapis lazuli, which I will of course discuss that more in detail. Rutilated quartz into amethyst, a traditional classic 7th chakra purple ray stimulant. Into golden healer quartz into rose quartz, a lovely pink ray stone of high love capacity, alignment. Rutilated quartz into cinnabar, which is a very, very powerful special stone, which I consider to be the quintessential archetypal energy of alchemy or sorcery, which is a very, very powerful stone, which I will omit for this purpose to keep this video relatively consolidated. My goal here is to keep it under an hour for important dissertation sakes, obviously. I'll see what can be done, because there's a lot to describe here. This is a very complex device with many variables, so I'll do my best to be very thorough, but yet concise as possible, so this video isn't 5 hours. And last but not least, this right here, of course, has a functional purpose besides aesthetics, which can serve as an insulation of the entire energy section of this engine, as well as a way to protect all these subtle crystals seen right here, as well as a color therapy resonance of the white ray to get the diffusion of the 7 rays down by the engine, as well as D, but last, I guess, but not least, it's also an aesthetic completion to give it a very nice completed look to the construct, which is actually indeed very functional, not for looks. Okay, so that'd be that section. So this right here will be quite the in-depth tour to dive into the complexities of the main engine hood section of the construct before me. Starting off with prehnite, seen right here next to the clear Lemurian quartz. Prehnite is a fantastic third and fourth chakra stimulant of great earth and water connotations, as well as a great master healer in the mineral kingdom. And what makes it truly special in this utilization is I consider it to be the quintessential Raphael force alignment frequency. So having the natural analog broadcast to the claw hand of the green ray Raphael, that force of seraphic healing capacity, obviously is pretty advantageous in a spirit tool designed to be in custody of a wielder serving creation. So there you have that. This right here is Star Argonite, another master healer of the mineral kingdom that has been widely used in many a spirit tech tool by now. And it has a very intensive calcium-based matrix to make a full light body stimulant from top to bottom, quickly dismantling any stagnations that would interrupt a proper energetic flow from top to bottom very rapidly but very gently. And also, with certain configuration frequencies seen here, works fantastic with a very full healed light body configuration just by itself, not to mention all the other components working in synergy with this guy to perform a very versatile full light body healing capacity function. Then down here, get a proper angle on that, this guy right here at the end, seen like so, that is actually golden healer quartz in a heavier concentration dose, much like mentioned up here in the primary blade band, to have that impeccable gold white light Christ frequency source emanation alignment, which, like I mentioned, in metaphysical purposes, is very much advantageous and irreplaceable for its vibrational benefits of literally having the emanations of creation in connection with the construct through the consciousness of the higher self of the wielder when engaged in the construct, which is really nice. And also, this is carved into an angel, which is a very nice homage to the seraphic realm, so it's of course perfect. And down here, of course, on display, which will not be covered up by the concealment process of installing the hood, is Libyan gold tektite. Libyan gold tektite is a fantastic sacrum, solar plexus, fire elemental stimulant, yet it has a full storm overtone, which means it has a whole illumination effect for the entire chakra column, with a focus at the solar plexus of high manifestation. Hence, this utilization in ancient Egyptian magi and pharaoh utilization was notarized, and it is quintessentially a stone of ancient noble royalty of the Egyptian god king caste of the pharaohs. So that's really cool. And so in this day and age, the manifestation aspect of this kind of magic is very applicable to such a powerful abundance construct. Then concealed by many components at this point would be the main absolute heart of the construct, which is clear Lemurian quartz. Lemurian quartz is a fantastic variety of quartz which works as the main heart of the construct, or the neutral resonant, to be of course in tandem with the wielder's prayers and alignment with the entire construct, to be a neutral accelerant of the entire output. So that's the main heart. That would be basically the heart of the light blade. Then I'll go ahead and discuss this one shot because of its synergistic critical function. Once I get this girl to behave and stay straight. So, as this part is described in one section, this will of course be very evident in the critical nature of these components working in synergy and combination for a particular vibratory stabilized goal. So this right here would be red jasper. So as a preface, jasper and agates are the most stable atomical vibrations in the mineral kingdom of their designated elemental spectrums. So red jasper, earth energy, would stabilize the root chakra. Fire agate stabilizes the fire energy in the root, sacrum, and solar plexus. Moss green agate, which is actually in heavy doses in this whole construct, which will be, of course, further discussed up here, but as a quick little preface, moss green agate is a water energy, water elemental, green ray, heart chakra stabilizer. Blue lace agate is a fantastic water elemental 5th chakra stabilizer. Then grayp agate is a wind frequency 6th and 7th chakra stabilizer. So when you take the continuity and context of earth, fire, water, and wind in the most stabilized varieties in one subroutine, that has the implication of being a very much a stabilized homage to the medicine of earth, fire, water, and wind. So that, of course, plays a very critical role for providing a nice stable equilibrium to the extreme complexity of this superconductor that is abundance of the 16th rendition thus far. So right here, there's another piece of selenite with black kyanite, which oftentimes I save the selenite dissertation for very last as a capstone, but in summary, very quickly, is the selenite works as a great purification agent, as well as a harmonization and acceleration of this entire frequency bandwidth of this entire construct, which, like I mentioned, would usually be saved for last, but this guy has basically a surge protector installed with such a high vibratory yield to be a contingency with the black kyanite to make very rapid grounds of energy through the earth at a very reactive rate in accordance to the highest good of the wielder by designation. So that's a nice little purification grounding point right here to keep it quite simple. Then right here is a very special variety of serpentine named infinitite. And just like serpentine, it has a fantastic Kundalini stimulation for the entire chakra column, except the locality of infinitite is quite special in the particular decrystallization patterns of the root, sacrum, solar plexus, heart, and works very quickly to dismantle patterns that would be obstructing a fully healthy light body from top to bottom, which makes it truly another master healer stone in this device, which is, of course, kitchen sink protocol. Wow. Which will obviously make more sense as the dissertation continues about the complexities of this high vibratory yield device. But this is another special component of a tremendous energetic healer to dismantle patterns of dis-ease in all varieties, mental, physical, emotional, and all that jazz. Then right here is a lovely specimen of oceanic calcite. So white calcite by itself is a fantastic, underrated, full clear of staying energy through the entire light body from top to bottom. Yet the specialty of this particular specimen is that I collected this myself from a beach in Oregon, which means that Mother Ocean has literally tumbled that for thousands or hundreds of years. God literally knows. So the indelible mark of the oceanic clearing capacity has literally shaped this stone into what it is, which is basically the energy clearing capacity of Mother Ocean in a reactive device, which is pretty spectacular. So seen right here is the mighty powerful fulgurite, as well as right here. So fulgurite is amazingly powerful petrified lightning, literally the energy of lightning striking sand containing the frequency of lightning. So it's been well utilized by First Nation shamans to be a dramatic intensification of their prayers back to spirit or back to source, back to creator, in endeavors of their magic to help the people and serve creation. So it has very powerful mystical roots, as well as being a very powerful, tremendous light body activator from top to bottom. So with that kind of lightning power on tap, makes for a very dramatic full light body activation that mimics the frequency of lightning in a circuit. But not to worry, there's many aspects of stabilization and transmutation to get the most out of that to maintain equilibrium. As a quick little preface, that's the whole concept as well, is that with these different contingencies in play, they work to really get the most out of these high yield focused broadcasts with maximum equilibrium and comfortability for the wielder of the construct in a harmonious optimum. So this right here is Prophecy Stone. Prophecy Stone is actually a very special variety of a mysterious metal that can't quite be quantified by modern science. According to metallurgy, it has metal in it that's not quantified in our periodic table, according to what I've read, which gives it a kind of cool mysterious connotation, as well as it's actually found in the same locality as the Libyan gold tektite seen right there, which also is known as Libyan desert sandglass, because once again the scientific jury's still out on its origin, but two and two together found the same locality, and hence the stone Prophecy Stone was actually named then after a rock hound discovered it and had a massive unexpected prophetic vision. which has a very powerful 6th and 7th chakra stimulation, yet it has, of course, a hematoid iron-based matrix to it that makes a very strong grounding of this energy into the earth. That, of course, is how the magic becomes real through tangibility, by actually taking excess frequency and discharging it into the earth for reprocessing and to tangibilize any aspects of vibratory output. Alrighty. Now the other side of the main heart of this device would be consisting of malachite, a fantastic fire green ray, 3rd and 4th chakra stimulant that is really effective for burning through any kind of imprintation limitations of the heart's will capacity, which is very nice. Then right here is a lovely white ray stone of divinity I call scolecite. Scolecite's a fantastic 6th, 7th chakra, 8th Godhead stimulant that is quintessential calming of the mind of the divine witness self. Very nice even in small doses. And then right here is black tektite, oftentimes the product of nickel iron meteorite seen right here impacting sand, literally carrying that extraterrestrial jolt into reality from the vaporization of sand around it, which gives it a very nice powerful jolt of energy. But luckily it's a black ray frequency, so its extraterrestrial energy has a nice ground up context to be a very powerful vibratory increased scaffolding from luckily the root up to fully expand and bring high vibrational influx of the auric field. But like I mentioned, luckily it's a black ray connotation, which means its resonance has a more of a earth star stimulation from a ground up foundation, which of course has been a staple in spirit tools for many years now, based on that practical, grounded, high vibratory threshold induction. Speaking of nickel iron meteorite, here it is. That is a meteorite that actually came from outer space of nickel and iron, which makes a fantastic extraterrestrial grounding of energy through the entire system, which is very nice. I'll just leave it at that, keep going, because I don't want this to be over an hour, God willing. Ruby and zoisite, seen right here. Ruby is, once again, the cardinal red ray stone of the mineral kingdom of precious notoriety, which I will save, promise, for up here in this dissertation. But ruby, being a powerful root chakra stimulant, in tandem with zoisite, which is an impeccable heart-mind coherence agent, makes for a truly dynamic activation of the root and heart-mind coherence for a dynamic shift towards one's factory dharmic blueprint, so to speak, manifest. So, like I mentioned, even a small dose in a reactive circuit goes a very long way for vibrational compound interest. Then right here is the lovely legendary charite, a very fantastic purple ray, violet ray, dharmic stimulant. Charite is an amazing, obviously, crown chakra stimulant, yet the black dendric seen right here also brings a very powerful grounding of the energy through the earth stars into the earth for reprocessing, which serves as a tremendous full light body stimulant by itself, and most importantly, clears any obstructions from one's appointed path in service to creation. So those that are serious about their dharmic mission in life or their holy grail template manifest, this is of the essence for employment for that purpose. Hence it's here as a violet ray dharmic stimulant of high frequency nature to reveal one's path in very obvious nature through synchronicities and aha moments and all that jazz. Then make sure everything else is notarized first before I move on. Okay, last but not least, a rather critical component, particularly in lightblade wands, is the smoky celestial quartz. It gets very meta when I try to, of course, bring it into linear concepts of dissertation, but I'll do my best to keep it consolidated because it's about to get very, very tinfoil hat rabbit hole-y as a preface. So everybody's been warned, anyone watching this. The smoky quartz construct obviously makes a great grounder of negativity into policy like transportation, like mentioned, but the particular format that makes the celestial structure has a very special resonance with the template of the higher self of the wielder, which also means it works as a very powerful optimum equilibrium agent to auto-calibrate the right frequency pitch in requirement of whoever's wielding this, which means it also works as a very reactive frequency that auto-calibrates to the optimum of the wielder of the highest self or the ideal template. So it meets you where you're at. Of course, I'm going to try to break it down and not speak too much Christianese on the subject so it actually makes comprehensive sense because it is rather important constructual concept. Okay. That being said, it also works as a great dimmer switch or another surge protector to ensure that the right amount of frequency, whoever's engaging it, for example, the primary recipient who commissioned this device will be the primary designation, but if someone wields this besides her, it will actually this frequency pitch right here will auto-calibrate to whoever is engaging it to their highest good, which gets very meta, but yet very versatile if it's comprehensible. And so that would be that. I'll leave it at that as a safety regulator dimmer switch that ensures the optimum alignment of frequency pitch that's most comfortable for whoever's wielding it at a constant safe flux rate as a great contingency. Okay, that's enough about that. So that'd be the main engine of the section. Like I mentioned so far, this would be the transmutation ratio running under this fabulous green leather, which of course makes a lovely color therapy insulation resonance of the green ray heart chakra concentration. Hence the abundance platforms have all been equipped with this lovely, luxurious forest green leather. And then I'll go ahead and discuss the primary thumb engagement and employ this rock to give me a hand in the subject. If it wants to behave itself. Good grief. Okay. So this is designed to be where, of course, when wielded in the construct, to actually engage the thumb like so, to completely engage the circuitry of the closed reactive circuit before me. Okie dokie. So as a foundational base of the entire thumb engagement, I will discuss this in one shot because they all work together in great synergy for the purpose of the appropriate stabilization of the abundance ratio. Gotta clear my throat for that one. Many a tongue twister is being said today. So seen right here is moss green agate on the blade face, which will of course be discussed momentarily. Then the foundation is moss green agate as well. So as a contingency for such an exaggerated yield of this excessive heart chakra concentration energy, is the moss green agate, like discussed down by the engine, is the quintessential stabilization of the green ray heart chakra. So it's one thing to have a dramatic, ridiculous exaggeration of that energy, but the stability of that particular wavelength is what indeed, engineered intentionally, can stabilize that particular portal reality for the receptivity of the abundance to be just a new foundational normal, so that the vibratory pitch does not have any wavelength distortion, but yet is a stable receptive state of one's highest abundance, which essentially could be denoted to a holy grail energy alignment configuration. Essentially. So in all the abundance constructs so far with the 15 renditions previously in this succession litter, they have been of the essence as part of the critical part of the blueprint of, once again, the exaggeration of that green ray to stabilize this reality receptivity. Anyway. So seen right here, right at the tip of my pen, is a lovely legendary piece of moldavite. Even in a very small dose and reactive circuit, they go a very long way, because that is quite the stone of great potency and very powerful legendary frequency of this day and age that's become quite famous or infamous. So, moldavite is the quintessential storm elemental heart chakra alignment to one's highest self fully manifested, which makes it very destructive for the false self matrices that would be impeding one's true dharmic connection to their true oversoul God self. So that's why, of course, it gets bad wrapped in this day and age for being a stone that ruins people's lives, because indeed it wrecks the false self matrix of anything impeding one's connection to creation. But as a very well thought out contingency in effect for quite a while, many constructs now, the idea of having the transmutation ratio, the stability, and all the other contingencies buffering the excess frequency so it gets the most out of that without the excessive timeline whiplash that is infamously aligned with moldavite. So that's enough about that. Of course, I have a lot of digressions in these videos because there's obviously a lot to talk about. And so above that moldavite seen right here is a lovely little band of green jade, which is another quintessential stone of abundance from the Orient, well utilized, well notarized earth elemental heart chakra stimulant, and most importantly, even a small concentration of a crystalline structure in the human morphic field of collective consciousness of abundance, particularly of high belief concentration in the human morphic field, like I said before, goes a very long way, particularly in conjunction with clear course to be neutral acceleration into the lovely, legendary diamond. Even one little diamond right there goes a very long way for vibrational compound interest of that 10 out of 10 hardness, quintessential frequency of royalty, which is denoted to be a stone of invincibility, magic, opulence, abundance, you name it, it's there. For that purpose, then of course, clear quartz going into jade once again to be part of the subroutine. And then this guy right here is a very special little piece of a turtle mounted on silver with Larimar, seen also up here. Larimar is an amazing newer discovery from the early 80s of great 5th chakra focus, clarity, intensity, as well as a very powerful soother of the throat and mind. It makes it very easy to be in the more receptive dharmic state. And so, slow and steady wins the race, and so the turtle is here to remind that aspect, which is really nice, stable foundation animal archetype, and not to mention it's beautiful, and it has a Larimar. It's really quite fabulous, obviously. And so with this power pack seen right here, to contain this circuitry of the thumb engagement is a rather royal opulent rendition of a power pack blade band, starting off with clear quartz to be the neutral accelerator of the energy, with once again ruby. And I finally will discuss it in greater notoriety. Ruby is the quintessential red ray chakra stimulant of the mineral kingdom of precious notoriety for quite a while now. That's why it's one of those famous stones that are considered truly precious amongst humankind. And it is a corundum, oftentimes a 8.5 or 9 in the hardness scale, which means its particular red ray oscillation atomical structure is very dense and very vivid and very vibrant and powerful. Going into clear quartz with its perfect cousin antithesis, sapphire. Same deal. It's a stone of great notoriety of the 5th and 6th chakra stimulation of wind elemental frequency, and a stone of precious notoriety, as well as being a quintessential blue ray stone of precious opulence. So this circuit, of course, has a very nice induction of the red and blue octave igniting like so in a closed loop circuit, which could be, of course, contributing factors to the stimulation of hydrogen with the red ray stimulation, with the oxygen being the blue ray aspect. So in theory, together, the two of them would be fantastic for stimulating the oxygen-hydrogen ratio of the entire body, which is, in theory, perpetual regeneration. And so, auspiciously enough, with the clear quartz also being white, it has a very patriotic flair, which is kind of hilarious to say out loud for this dissertation, which is the red, white, and blue almost. Yeah, America. Anyhow, that's me, of course, just goofing off, breaking up the monotony of my excessive rant. Alrighty. So this section would be considered the blade facing, which this obviously would be the business end of the construct with the focalizer seen here, which will eventually be, of course, notarized in their own proper due. But starting off the blade face, like I mentioned, moss green agate to be the quintessential green ray stabilization of the successive overture stimulation. Going into the lovely seraphinite, and obviously, as much as I could possibly, they are maximized to be as most symmetrical as possible on both sides for an ideal blade face configuration. Just as a quick little preface, for that is indeed a functional concept. Okay, anyhow, back to seraphinite. Seraphinite is one of those quintessential stones I've utilized for many years now with great effect, that I consider to be one of my top 5 favorite stones based on a critical, beautiful feature. Seraphinite is a fantastic, obviously, green ray heart chakra stimulation frequency, but with the aspect of the seraphic overtone based on, named after the seraphim archangelic realms, those entities or sentient beings close to source creation, being heavily resonant with this particular frequency, which has a fantastic effect of clearing any outmodal patterns that be considered dis-ease in all spectrums of the bodies, to be a rapid healer and basically a fantastic full light body stimulant, and any aspect of divisitory nature that be impeding this gets rapidly cleared, yet very gently, gracefully aligned to one's highest dharmic blueprint. So I do consider that basically one of the absolute most premier full utilitarian light body healing stimulants in the mineral kingdom that is heavily used in virtually all light tech constructs for that purpose. Then right here, as seen on both sides, is sunstone. Sunstone is a fantastic feldspar-based solar energy induction. They have a great stimulation of the sacrum and solar plexus, so it makes a very sunny, beautiful, fun, vibrant energy, which I utilize in the abundance platforms to be more of the yang output opposed to the intake of the green receptivity, as a lovely kind of positivity energy right there, which of course encourages to feel better, to be more in the gratitude receptive state, which is, like I mentioned, the yang to the yin of the abundance frequency, to be in that joyful action stage. And it's a great stone of delight, quite literally. The light, delight. It's kind of funny. And it's a fantastic, amazing, beneficent masculine frequency of the sun caught in crystalline structure, which goes a very long way with this entire construct. They have great beneficence. Then right here is the lovely legendary lapis lazuli, a stone or crystal that is a favorite of millions for thousands of years for a very good reason, much like turquoise. Based on sheer beauty, of course, that being aside, the metaphysical application of lapis is very well notarized as a 5th and 6th chakra wind stimulant in the ancient Egyptian mystery schools and a quintessential stone of Isis, which has great magical connotations, and not to mention, of course, just like everything else represented in this construct, draws from a great amount of faith and belief in the human morphic field of being a stone of magic. So it's a classic stone of psychic activation for thousands of years, quite literally, and it's a great stone of just one's sovereign highest truth being obvious at the forefront of the conscious self. Transitioning into the lovely Larimar, much like the turtle mentioned back here, to bring a nice blue-ray soothing focus, because the three of these together work very fantastic, and there's an impeccable 5th chakra stimulation from different octave points. So right here is the lovely famous turquoise, yet this variety is actually quite darn special. This is Old Stock Sleeping Beauty turquoise, which is the most vibrant and sought-after turquoise from a mine in the southwest that has been basically depleted for many years. So how I got this was, of course, an auspicious story that was the will of the force. But long story short, this is the lovely variety of the robin's egg blue turquoise, which is, like I said, old private stock acquired from 30 years ago, sitting in the back of a crystal shop in here in Mount Shasta, till I was bestowed it to be installed in this construct, which is quite fabulous. That's why it has that very vivid, incredible blue color that is the quintessential high-prized turquoise these days, and that's here. Anyway, enough of its origin, back to its metaphysical application. Apologies for my digression. This right here, of course, makes a fantastic 5th chakra stimulant, very well notarized in utilization across the world at this point. Obviously, was named after Turkey, turquoise. It was utilized in Egypt. The Mongolians utilized it in their war bridles as a talisman to fall off horses. First Nation tribes have always praised it. Its legendary love, besides its sheer beauty as a metaphysical stone, is very well notarized in human history at this point, and for a darn good reason. Because it takes the aspect of the 4 elements, terrestrial elements of earth, fire, water, wind, and brings a 5th ray focus, which is the quintessential wholeness of one's truth, which is very, very valuable to any aspect of metaphysical practicing or the spiritual aspirant's quest to seek the Holy Grail, if you would. So that'd be that amazing turquoise right there. So this would be the blade facing. Then at the very apex of the blade itself right here is sugilite, a lovely specimen of sugilite right here, which is a very fantastic, unfortunately very rare frequency these days, but luckily the will of the force has its way of getting me these obscure, valuable crystals just by providence. And so sugilite is a fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakra stimulant, and a great powerful purple ray violet flame psychic shield, which is very nice for burning off any kind of gray spots in the auric field. Hence, it's at the very business end of the apex for the practitioner's utilization to have a nice violet ray purification output as it's fulfilling its function in the custody of the recipient, living happily ever after in service to creation. Anyhow, so this right here will be another piece of infinitite, just like mentioned down here, to play a critical healing capacity role. So naturally, having it terminated against the selenite striation is of a great purpose, which I will of course discuss a little bit once I actually break this down. But the infinitite, once again, is a fantastic serpentine stimulant of the entire light body, making fantastic healing and stitching and patching and bridging any breakpoints in the auric field for perpetual light body healing momentum, aka physical luminous health. So that's why these two are together at the business end of the very apex of the construct to be basically the crystal at the very end in physical proximity. Okay, so I'll go ahead and discuss the focalizers seen right here before I discuss the selenites and the kyanites function. So these are actually quite special. Man, she won't behave herself. Gosh. Try and make her sit straight so I can. Anyhow, so these guys back here are titanium aura quartz, which is actually pressure-coated titanium on a clear quartz structure, which actually makes for a very fantastic, even though it's man-made modern alchemical construct from the 80s roughly, it does indeed make a very powerful full rainbow light body stimulation, as well as a great fortification of the auric field to discourage weaker frequencies from disrupting the subtle energetic patterns of the outer emanation of the auric field. Hence, I've been utilizing this as focalizers quite literally since the beginning of these handheld wands, and they have not gone out of style because that particular feature is basically a staple in virtually all lightblade wands for this purpose. And so strengthening the auric field and having the full rainbow light body focus as the focus of the energy with variations to the front focalizer is of the essence to really intensify the yield of this construct as it engages with the host. So the recipient's rainbow light body is, of course, in the highlight focus with uninterrupted electromagnetic interference disruptions that would be impeding one's impeccable dynamic dharmic self in reality. That's kind of a mouthful, but there you have it. So this is very, very special. I've been sitting on these for quite a few months when I was actually gifted these and one of my other bestowals from my many projects. And the time has come to employ these very special quartz carved dorjes right here. The dorje, as can be recognized as a ancient Tibetan spiritual theurgy tool of great significance for thousands of years to focus energy, also known as the thunderbolt diamond in Sanskrit. The dorje is a classic energy tool of antiquity that has great notoriety in high Tibetan Buddhism mysticism. So that's really cool by itself, but the fact that it's literally clear quartz carved into the essence of the dorje, the energy condenser focus, these guys would work together to be the apex focus of the entire construct for broadbanding purposes to direct current, like so, is indeed the dorje, which is very fantastic. The thunderbolt of Tibetan Buddhism, ancient steeped mysticism, carved into a quartz crystal, which of course means the crystal has a neutral acceleration, which takes the entire figure eight of this construct of perpetual recirculated energy and grounded into the primary wire, gives it the energy of focus of the entire broadcast, like so, to take the excess focus and actually give it directional current. So having the fact that the dorje is literally one of the most amazing magical device symbols in creation, and a clear quartz, obviously this is me nerding out as a tree-hugging crystal spinner, because that's just too extraordinary. But of course, he's going to a very extraordinary recipient who is like family to me. So obviously, kitchen sink protocol, nothing could be spared for the excellence of this construct in her service to creation. Obviously. My little whimsical dissertation rant right there. Anyhow, I have to always police myself and bring it back. So, last but not least, this component plays quite the critical role for the entire construct. So roughly in these approximately 44 minutes I've been ranting to myself about this vibratory construct. This is an ultimate capstone right here of selenite, of course, hewn exactly to meet in perfect flush parameter with the wooden core, which once again actually is oak, quite literally from this tree at the tip of my pen right there. So that's a good buddy of mine out there who drops things in the forest for me, so I can actually utilize the excess of that home tree on the ground to be shaped with woodworking skills into a functional handle. And so that is oak, which is a very nice atomical dense structure, which makes for a great third tool base foundation. And also oak, of course, is quite famous in its own right and as a wood of gods, kings, and heroes and Celtic mythology, and also in a more pragmatic aspect relating to this metaphysical dissertation is also a great dense atomical grain that makes a very strong, strengthening carbon-based output, which is very resonant with our, for now, carbon-based human avatar templates. Anyhow, enough digressions, but that's the oak is seen right here as the primary core to give the wooden base of the construct that of the oak bandwidth from literally that guy right there. Okay, so anyway, no more digressions. This is where the selenite plays a critical role. So selenite by itself is a very fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakra stimulant that connects ones to the Godhead as well as their higher self in a conscious self two-way gateway contact patch, much like a key to the higher self. And by itself makes a fantastic high-frequency imbuement that will disperse and discharge stored negativity through the entire auric field by itself. But where it really truly shines in any given light tech device, spirit tool, is the capacity to take all these stones mentioned thus far in 46 minutes, to purify all these frequencies, then to harmonize all these frequencies, then to intensify or accelerate all these frequencies, makes for a truly dynamic, effective spirit tool. So to break it down, when you purify the entire closed-loop reactive circuit, harmonize all of them together, then amplify them together, and that trifecta makes for a truly triumphant trio of beneficence for the entire construct. So that's oftentimes why I intentionally save that for last, and so I guess I'll circle back and kind of, with that vein of thought, discuss the aspect of the selenite down here as the same function to purify, harmonize, and accelerate the entirety on top of the clear quartz of this section as another purification agent and harmonization, intensification, and with the black kyanites being a great grounder of energy at a very rapid rate, which I'll get into the kyanites right here for further relevancy of the discussion. So seen right here on both sides, terminate against the selenite, of course, is black kyanite to make very rapid bridges of energy into the earth. So black kyanite plays a pivotal role in taking all this energy, and kyanites in general are the most rapid of transfers of 2 points in the mineral kingdom. Hence, the utilization of the broadcast of energy actually have transferability roots, actually is based on the kyanite's ability to transfer energy so effectively. So black kyanite makes a very fantastic grounding of all the energy at a very rapid rate to the earth, which means it's also very autoreactive, that if a certain influx of energy is really intensifying, it works as a surge protector to ground all this energy into the earth for very rapid reprocessing as much as needed. So it's always working triple time to ensure the grounded contact patch is ensured for the safety of the wielder. So they're quite important, hence the extra dose down here was actually, of course, as a contingency of the essence for such a high vibratory rendition of the abundance platform thus far. Then seen both here, orange kyanite, which is a fantastic rapid transference of the orange ray sacrum to the absolute highest configuration. Green kyanite, which rapidly transfers heart energy at a very, very quick rate. And blue kyanite, seen right here, is a very powerful neural pathway, third eye, 6th chakra stimulant of right and left hemisphere brain alignment, so to speak, aka awakened third eye, no cross interference, third eye activation. And the aspect of kyanites too is that with such rapid transferabilities, it's very difficult for stagnant energy to actually stick in the field when engaged. That could, of course, compromise the absolute highest integrity of one's dharmic blueprint fully manifest. So what that means also is it's also another layer of etheric Teflon to deflect and reroute and buffer any frequencies that are not of the highest light recipient in connection to the wielder's divine guidance. And a long story short. So it has many roles. So I believe that would be the entirety of the crystalline structure well discussed at this point. So as a quick preface, like I mentioned almost 50 minutes ago now, this would be the 16th rendition in short succession of this particular abundance platform. That's had many different variations at this point, but 16 of these guys are operational, providing vibrational compound interest to this particular output, which is very impressive to, of course, have that concept of, much like satellites pinging off each other, to have that broadcast covered, because literally these guys are across the world at this point. One's in India, they're all over the place, which is definitely like building an energetic network of this concept as a foundation of just the very beginning, if you would. And so, as a quick preface, obviously with this entire dissertation underway and undergone at this point, it's a very versatile full light body activator with many different configuration devices working together to emanate a synergistic, powerful emanation. But the heavy concentration of the abundance makes a very, very powerful aspect of the impeccable heart chakra activation in connection with their dark blueprint, and source creation for that matter, which could actually be kind of denoted to being a holy grail template generator, so to speak, in theory. Just be fun to throw that out there. Anyway, I think I've had enough whimsical rant for one video. Well, to anyone watching this, I pray you have an abundant day, 1,000 blessings, and may the force be with you, and aho.